some part of the world. My name is Prashant and we are back again with another edition of the FIIOB Podcast. Today, it's a very special podcast for all of us because it is the big game. It is called as the biggest game known to mankind on planet Earth. It's going to be the El Clasico. We have four very special people. We have Yudhajit and Upasana who are going to represent Barcelona. And we have Simran and Rajdeep who are, of course, in their beautiful white jersey, supporting Real Madrid. Florentino Perez led Real Madrid. Let me put it that way. That's my love for that club. Jokes apart, it's going to be a big game. El Clasico has always been a big game. It's never been small. One of the most fiercely contested matches, if I have to call it. It's not just a match. It's as good as a title match for all the teams, including both of them involved, because it's a game where everyone in the world watches. But before we talk about this year's Clasico, let me straight away go to Rajdeep first. Rajdeep, how are you feeling before you face Barcelona over the weekend?
We have only one motto. Every game is a final.
Liverpool understood that very well. I really like the game against Liverpool. Being a United fan, I absolutely love the result. But jokes apart, Simran, in that sense, what Rajdeep said, right? Every game is a final. I completely agree because of the situation what Real Madrid is in. Because when you look at the La Liga table right now, Real Madrid are 3 points away from Atletico, 2 away from Barcelona, which makes this game very evenly balanced because you cannot afford a loss. A draw is still fine because you can still catch up. A loss means title is all, I would still not say title is not over, but title will be out of reach for Real Madrid in that case. Then you would have to depend, let Barcelona lose, let Atletico Madrid lose. In that context, how much of a big game is this going to be, especially this year's Clasico?
Every Clasico is a big game, but this year it has very much at stake because in the starting of the season, Zidane's management was questioned. Like he was, not starting our youngsters and he was still depending on Kroos, Modric, Casemiro. And sometimes they were also not good enough for us to win. We were losing against, teams which are in the bottom of the table. We won against Barcelona and Atletico, but we were losing against some teams which we shouldn't have lost against. So after that, it got a really we got stable, but Barcelona caught up. They were doing really poor. They were doing even.
They were 10 points off, right, Simran? They were 10 points off.
They were. And I was so happy. I was like, this season though, it's okay. Let Atletico win. At least Barcelona won't win. And it's okay. We won last season. But they caught up. And right now the stake is that we if Atletico wins, it is not a good thing for us, but it will be fine rather than Barcelona winning it. So we have to win the El Clasico just to make sure that Barcelona doesn't win it. So that's why, in that perspective, it is a big game.
Fair enough. I mean, I completely understand when you said that you're okay with Atletico winning, but not, Barcelona winning the title. And moving on from the same topic, right? I'll move to Yudhajit. Yudhajit, my question to you is a bit of, United kind. When I say United history kind. So my question to you in that sense is, traditionally, this is not a derby, unlike how a United versus City is a derby, or how I think Barcelona and Espanyol is a derby, if I'm not wrong, right? It's a derby game. It's not a derby, but this game is much bigger than the derby. Is it because of these two teams who are always fighting for the title, or is it a bit of a legacy issue in terms of main bada ki tu bada?
Right. So I believe any kind of rivalry, especially big rivalries like El Clasico, it's a bit of both, bragging right on the pitch and the things that had happened off the pitch as well. So of course, it's like two biggest teams in Spain going against each other. All Clásicos are kind of title battles. But if you look at the history of the two teams outside of what happened on the pitch, if you look at the history, all the political issues between Catalonia and Spain, Madrid is Spain. So all the things that happened between them, you could see that there's a huge political underline between them. And I think on the 17th minute of every match in Camp Nou, the home crowd starts singing the Catalonian national anthem because in 1700 something, Catalonia lost independence to Spain. So you can understand what kind of political underpinning is there in this game, right?
Yeah, we understood that from the elections only. So
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the special jersey you're wearing in this match, you're not wearing the classical Blaugrana color, that claret and blue, but you're wearing a color which also incorporates the Catalonian flag in it, the Senyara flag, the red and yellow. So yeah, it's a lot of political as well. Both teams don't like to lose each other. They don't like to, become the inferior team for at least 6 months in Spain. So yeah, it's a lot of political as well as things that happen on the pitch as well.
Fair enough. So Upasana, let me ask you this question in a very blunt manner, as blunt as I can, right? So last time when Barcelona lost was against, I think, Cadiz, right? In the start of the month of December, somewhere around that. And since then on 6-7 straight league victories, you defeated Sociedad. Sorry, you thrashed Sociedad for fun, right? And then a gentleman is starting to come on form. When everyone thought that, the gentleman is silent, it's his last year, he'll leave off. Then someone poked the bear. In English, they say if you poke a bear, then you are supposed to face the wrath of the bear. He's coming back. He is coming back just like how winter has come. And no team in world football in the right senses will say, I want to face an in-form Lionel Messi. In that context, where he's always loved scoring against Real Madrid, and just like what Simran said, and Rajdeep said that every game is...
So, given the current scenario, it's just like a neck-to-neck competition that's happening, because we have the A team in the top, and then we have the Real Madrid just right below us. So, talking about nervous, yes, obviously, I won't lie, because it's Real Madrid, and after watching the match, like how they played against Liverpool without Ramos and Varane, it's I should not say that we should be overconfident, because every time we have become overconfident, like the Roma, like the Liverpool, like people have just thrashed us like anything. So nervous. Let's not talk about that. Come on, let's not talk about that.
Okay, fair.
So, the Bayern one, actually, we expected that we would be losing, but an 8-2 is something like whatever. It's even worse.
Hate to remind you that, but go on.
No, it's okay. The 8-2, I must say, the 8-2 is even a worse kind of humiliation than the 1943 El Clasico of 11-1. So, which I mean, yeah, I feel so. And he pumped up, obviously, because Simran said that even if it's Atletico, it's okay, but not Barcelona. But what I feel, it shouldn't be either Atletico or Real, because if there is a target, so either we gonna get it or nobody's gonna get it. So yeah, pumped up, nervous, both.
Fair enough. I'll not disagree to that. But moving on, before we talk about this time's Clasico, right? Let me just take you back a little bit. Just rewind your memories a bit, and I'll straight away go to Simran. Simran, what is your favorite memory of the El Clasico? Like, what is your best memory?
Everyone would say it would be the 2011 final. But for me, it would be the 2016 one. Like, we lost 4-0 to Barcelona into 2015 December, I guess. And I have my personal reasons for that, okay? Because my relationship just started with Akul, and then it was 4-0, and he posted on his timeline that, oh, Madridistas, do you still believe in El Clasicos? And that I took it personally. So in the 2016, when the 2-1
victory, Ramos got a red card.
Ramos got a red card. Cristiano scored. PK got a very good view of the goal, and I got my revenge. And I posted, I reshared his status, and I said that, yeah, we still do believe in El Clasicos, and it was a good one. And after that, we won the Champions League.
Yeah.
And the next season we won the Champions League, and the next season we won the Champions League. So yeah, that was the start of something big.
Yeah, something big. And actually, PK got a view of the goal 2 times. He scored one, and then he got the view, on the other side. And not to forget, that game I remember, because there was this gentleman, a baldy gentleman who once played for Lyon, and he had signed for Real Madrid long back, and no one was giving him much of a chance. And then he scored the second goal, if I'm not wrong. I think it was Benzema scored the first, Ronaldo scored the second one. And I remember Benzema's goal, and I was like, we should have just signed him. United should have signed him for 40-50 million back then. The 5 paise, 6 paise ke liye rohe. Man, look at this striker. But having said all of that, I completely agree that, one special game, and you're a man down and you still come and score. And especially Gerard Piqué's face was nice after that. Jokes apart, I'll move to...
Sergio Ramos was I would have gone out way before if I knew we would win. without me. So yeah, that was nice.
Fair enough. Rajdeep, what is your best memory of?
I'm gonna go with the Ronaldo shirt celebration,
Mm.
Super Copa
Oh.
España game.
Mm.
And
Which
that was,
was 17, right? 17.
yes,
Yeah, 27.
the second leg one where Ronaldo came on, scored, opened his shirt, and then like was sent off. Like 10 minutes का मामला है, आओ पियो, खत्म करके निकल जाओ. That was a very good game and full on revenge mode. So it was an added celebration for that.
I think Asensio scored in that game and Gerard Piqué had an own goal or something. Right?
Asensio
Yeah.
scored in the second leg, I guess.
Second leg, Asensio scored.
Second leg,
leg,
yeah. And,
Yeah, and we were
Ronaldo
like,
red
you
card.
can take away Ronaldo, but we still got Asensio, and then we hyped Asensio so much that he got overconfident or something. I don't know.
Asensio is so hyped that he's good enough to play for Arsenal now. But I'm not taking a dig at Arsenal. Anyone can play for them. But having said all of that, I'll go to Yudhajit. Yudhajit, these guys spoke of two memories, and the common aspect in that was Gerard Piqué. I'm not taking it as a dig, but he is a captain. He's a leader. Let's not mistake that at all. But do you sometimes think that the passion gets a little bit ahead of him? Because Sergio Ramos can still do that. His passion can still get ahead of him because he's a leader, and we all know that he's possibly the best centre back of all time, if I have to call it. One of the best centre backs of all time. You can count his red card, you can count his sliding tackles, you can say he's rough. And I'm very happy to, not say very happy, but I don't think he did anything wrong to Mo Salah. But it is a fair tackle. That's how it happens in the game. Then you can't do anything. But having said all of that, do you really think as a fan that sometimes Piqué's emotions get better of him?
I think it does sometimes. He has this habit of arguing with the referees a lot of times.
I don't blame him, man. To be honest, I don't blame him. He's a husband, so can't argue at home.
With 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah.
In that sense, what is your favorite memory of El Clasico? Like your best memory?
I mean, I have 4 matches that I really hold very close to my memory. One is a 6-2 drubbing at Santiago Bernabeu. I remember Real Madrid opened the scoring first, and then I don't know what happened. I still watch the match sometimes. And then the 5-0.
That was a 2009-10, no? 6-2?
2009, yeah. He played, Leo played as a false 9.
Yes, it was 2008-9, then 10-11, the Mourinho match, Mourinho's first El Clasico 5-0. And
I remember last Diarra coming on as a sub at halftime. I was like, what? He's still in football? He's still there? What is Mourinho doing with him?
Yeah, and of course the 3-2 match at Bernabeu was amazing. We didn't win the league that season, but the final goal, the last minute dying goal and the celebration from Messi. We didn't expect Messi doing something like that, like opening his shirt and showing it to the Bernabeu crowd. And then, of course, the 5-1 Clasico, the Suarez hat trick, and Messi was not there in the match.
In that 3-2 game, I think Rakitic scored, right? Rakitic scored. And
Rakitic scored once.
And then Messi with that iconic moment.
Yes.
And then
The last moment.
Obviously, there is another. Yeah, and there is another common factor in that game. There was a red card, and I should not mention who
Ramos,
it was.
yes.
I remember.
And then, he complained that Piqué actually, influenced the referees with his decision because of his tweets. That is a very weird thing to say, but
no, I still believe him. But anyways, I'll not give my personal opinion there. And Upasana, what is your memory like? Anything different from what Yudhajit said?
Not actually, because 2009 was something. It was. I actually don't have any words to explain because 6-2 is something gigantic. And no, please let's not go back to that topic as well. But yeah, it was an incredible one, I must say.
Yeah.
And he played, he assisted, and it was fantastic. And to be honest, 2017 wala jo game tha, that is more favorite because he got injured at the beginning of the game because of Marcelo's tackle, he was bleeding and everything. He put a tissue on his mouth and he was running, and it was like I was kind of trembling at that point of time because I'm extremely emotional when it comes to the El Clasicos. Not only just El Clasico, when it comes to Messi, to be honest, not gonna lie. So that was the thing. And honestly speaking, there was a load shedding kind of thing that was happening at my home, and I somehow had
Which was in 2000 13, what you
17.
said. 17.
17.
Oh,
17.
which is 3 years after the
But
election and 1 year before.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
So kind of there was a load shedding kind of thing going on, and I was just praying to God कि भाई मेरा लैपटॉप का चार्ज बचा ले यार, कुछ ही देर का मामला यार, बचा ले, आज तो देखना है somehow. And I was like, okay, 2-2 draw हो जाएगा, इसके बाद क्या होगा? There's no such scope. But suddenly I found Jordi Alba was running like anything, and then he came from somewhere, and then he scored, and it was like I was like shouting, I was screaming, I was so ecstatic at that point of time. So if you ask me my favorite, so yeah, the 2017 one actually. I have just loved it like anything.
Fair enough. Just a simple reminder to all of people who are watching this video, right? I have two beautiful people with me, two girls. I'll not call you women, you're still girls. Sorry. Two beautiful girls. I don't think they used Google or Wikipedia to actually answer their favorite memories or talk about their football club, you know? So next time when you are actually trolling a female fan saying that you should stay in the kitchen, and I'm saying this out of with my deepest emotions, just as emotionally Upasana is attached to Lionel Messi, I am emotionally very attached to this whole incident, which usually happens a lot in social media, which is cyberbullying female football fans. I think it's pretty lame. It's pretty stupid. Just because you know a little more than your club and there is another person of the opposite gender who may not know more than you, who may know more than you, either ways, you cannot bully someone just because of the gender. To talk about the same topic, let me first away ask Simran. Simran, I know many incidents where you have been targeted to such kind of topics, and a lot of people have spoken about saying that, you know, I'm sorry to use this word, but they said you should go to kitchen. After a point of time, as someone who's even reading it, it's pretty stupid, it's pretty annoying. And how do you actually deal with this whole incident?
So, like, I joined the football clubs. Before that, I didn't know all these football clubs existed. I was, you know, watching the games on my own and all that. So I joined FIIOB in 2020 due to the lockdown, and like one of my friends introduced me to it. And at first, it was really good. I saw very good content and some trolls, and I got carried away a bit and something. But after a while, I started seeing, you know, misogynistic and sexist comments. At first, I was like really bothered by it, and I like started fighting. And the funny thing is that when I started pointing out the misogyny, the guy who like started the whole thing, he would come back with 3 or 4 of his friends, and then they would start targeting me alone. And then it was like me alone fighting for what I think is not the right thing to do. And then like 5-6 guys coming in, and then the, you know, the author had to delete the post, or, you know, the moderators and admins had to come in between and mute, or, you know, delete the post or delete the comments itself. So yeah, after a while, it started not bothering me at all. Like, I just laugh it off, and I just, you know, give a witty reply to that. But yeah, before it was really heartbreaking because I had not faced that before, because the place where from where I am, like, there are no gender discrimination. There is absolutely no gender discrimination from the Northeast. Like, I'm from Assam, and like I have not faced any gender discriminations. And
like no one categorically said ever said to you that just because you're a female you cannot follow football, right? How lame can you get? How lame can people get that where you say that मतलब तुम लड़की हो तो तुम football नहीं देख सकते?
But
you should
yeah,
belong
no,
to kitchen.
they do not. Like in real life, my like friends, my male friends, they have not said that directly, but like they start asking questions like, "Oh, what is the offside rule?" And really, you follow Real Madrid? Like, tell me the names of at least 5 players except Ronaldo. And so I have faced things like that. And so
You should, next time when someone says 5 players who are not Ronaldo, you should just say that his name is bigger than what my club is also at one point of time. So even if I say his name, right, it's as equivalent as the whole club. And I don't think you should even answer that question, because sometimes your passion should not be measured. You know, that's one thing which I always believe in. There is no metric to measure passion. Yeah, there are other metrics like pre-assist and stuff, but you should not measure passion is what I think. But moving on from Simran, Upasana, I'm sorry that I'm bringing this topic again. It's not something which I usually do, and it's a very social cause which I'm very concerned, which I care about. for me as a fan, right? For me as a football fan, forget me as a human being. For me as a football fan, for me it's always a sport, and sport is never tied by gender. Sport is tied by only two things which I believe in. One is politics. Sport and politics don't go hand in hand. Second thing which sport does not go hand in hand is racial abuse. But what you guys are facing is a gender abuse, and sometimes people forget that we come from a country called as India, right, where a female of the like a gender, which is a female gender, is considered more important than the male gender, because that's what we say, right? Mata, Pita. It's always a mother who comes first. What's the gender of the mother? It's a female. But like just how Simran said, so many discrimination. I'm sure you also might have faced when someone might have told you, मतलब Barcelona के 5 player के नाम बता, other than Lionel Messi. I mean, I'm sure you might have got hundreds of comments like that. Apart from that, how do you actually deal with some issue? Do you actually go out and clarify and say, मेरे को तेरे से ज़्यादा पता है एक क्लब के बारे में? Or sometimes you just say like, you know what, that's your life, dude. Go get a life.
No, basically the thing is that I follow football since a long time. I mean, I should not say that I follow football very deeply since a long time, but it's been like 2006 Wala World Cup since when I have started actually watching it along with my brother and other stuffs. So, dheere dheere what happened? I began to understand what is this game all about, and then skills vagara vagara. So I used to know what the game is all about.
Yeah.
And then when I joined Facebook and the other social media, yeah, I often used to get this kind of comments and all. Back at that point of time, when I was in 12th standard or I was in first year of my graduation and everything.
Legally, you're not allowed to join Facebook, but okay, I'll give that to you.
It just happened. So, at that point of time, I used to do e-lafra a lot. I used to scream, ki, yaar,
What is
तेरे को ज़्यादा
e-lafra?
पता है. What is e-lafra? The lafra that happens over internet, like email.
Like when someone takes a troll on email, that sort of.
Like actually what happens on actually that what happens
Sorry, I don't
on
know this.
FIIOB.
Please consider me as a millennial only. I don't know this because I don't get involved in such kind of stuff. But what is
Yeah,
it?
right. E-lafra is something. अभी El Clasico के दिन ही होगा कुछ. Suppose whichever the team will lose, I mean somebody has to lose, right? Or even
So
if
let's
it's
say
a draw.
Ramos gets a red card. So they'll put
Let's say Lamos gets that somebody maybe from one of the queues may go and post that अरे red card का राजा आ गया or something like that, and somebody from Madrid will come and defend it. So it will not be like a defend and like a accuse kind of thing, but it will be more like हाँ तू मेरे से ज़्यादा जानता है ये देख statistics वो देख statistics. This is what I actually call a e-lafra.
Yeah, right. It's I know, and I'm not taking a particular dig, but there are some fans of a certain club where a striker from Poland plays, and then they put some weird stats, and I'm like, no one asked you to do it, brother.
And even some kind of polls. They deliberately, post this kind of posts in order to create the lafras and such kind of things. So
Bruno Fernandes versus Xavi, and I was like, sorry.
It's Bruno Fernandes versus Xavi, and people, and they also won like Xavi versus Modric just based on the Ballon d'Or kind of statistics. And I was like, kya be yaar, mazak hai kya?
That was a dig at, like Messi having more Ballon d'Or.
Modric is a better footballer than Xavi because he's got a Ballon d'Or.
He has got a Ballon d'Or. I mean, without disrespecting that, Modric is extremely talented. We all know, man. I mean, I have no position to disagree with that fact. But like having a Ballon d'Or or not having a Ballon d'Or is definitely not gonna be a kind of parameter, right? Because there are so many people who do not have as much Ballon d'Or as this Leo and Cristiano Ronaldo have got.
Yeah.
So coming back to the point, I used to do e-lafra at that point of time, but then when I grew up, I started watching various kind of English series, I must say, and then I actually got to learn what sarcasm is. And then when people used to tell me go back to kitchen, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go back, I'll grab an eyeball and stab you in some some soft part of your body.
Please note that FIIOB does not endorse violence.
No,
Really
no,
endorse
I'm not saying that. So I used to tell like, yeah, I definitely can go to my kitchen. I can bring back a knife because I
Yeah.
know where I kept my stuffs, and I'm gonna stab
Mm.
you at the most, the softest part of your body. So you're gonna understand how much it feels like whenever a lady goes back to the kitchen, just
Yeah.
uh, just in order to obey you.
But just to come
So
back to your point on that Modric comparison, what you just mentioned, that I think Ibrahim Afellay is a better footballer, or is a greater footballer than Jonathan Woodgate, because Ibrahim Afellay has got a La Liga title.
yeah, right.
Jonathan Wood. I mean, how stupid can you get when you compare
That is extremely
irrelevant things?
lame. Extremely lame. I mean, stupid
Yeah,
lame
it's,
shit.
it's it's as lame as comparing Anthony Martial to a world class striker. I mean, how can you make such mistakes? You don't do that. But jokes apart, I completely,
But that's
I'll
the
cut the.
setback of having being a Real Madrid and Barcelona fan. The fan base is so huge that
Hmm.
there will be
Oh, sorry,
fans like
Simran, I
this,
don't agree. You have not met United fans, and
Oh
I'm
my
not taking.
No,
God.
no,
United fans,
I have.
especially the
Like, we
United
are
have
talking
fans.
about Real Madrid and Barcelona here, so that's why I was
Yeah,
pointing out
right.
that there are jokers in both the fan base, and they do stupid shit, and then like we have to,
But I feel
suffer
the
for them. We
most,
have to suffer for
yeah,
them.
and the most number of jokers I feel they come from the United fan base. I mean, कुछ भी post कर देते हैं यार. कुछ तो दिमाग पे रखो. I mean, why are you posting whatever
Do you
that's
guys
coming
know which
inside
club
your
I
brain?
support? Both of you know which club I support?
Yeah,
Liverpool, right? Liverpool.
Sorry? No,
Liverpool.
just because my wife supports Liverpool doesn't mean I support Liverpool. I am a United fan. For
Okay.
we know.
Okay, but
it
then
is-
also I'm not taking back my word. Then also I'm not
I don't
taking back
disagree
my
with you, but I don't disagree with you, and I'll be very stupid if I say I don't know this. Of course I know. I know there are a lot of comparisons how La Masia used Scholes as an idol, etc., etc. I mean, I don't know how much true it is and all that, but having said all of that, I would never. Yudhajit, I will take the dig at you later, not now. I will wait for my chance for the dig, but okay. But having spoken about the issue of gender bias, right? We have women footballers as well, and I'm saying this. Okay, I should not say this. Oh, fine, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say this loud. Some people follow women footballers because they look good or they look X, Y, Z.
Yes,
pretty.
yes, and I'm so offended by that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly,
so
Simran.
very much offended by
And I'll
that.
tell you why, okay? And I'll tell you my reason of anger and dislike to this. You like someone as a footballer, you follow them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, what all social platforms, you follow them. But you post a
Yes.
picture of them and then you put some random weird caption to it. And I'm not going to say the caption because then it will be evident who it is and what it was. And I saw the caption and I just messaged that gentleman that other day. I was like, you do know, right, what you're doing? He's like, yeah, I'm sharing my thoughts. I was like, no. If it was a male footballer, you wouldn't post that pic, right? You would post a tactical analysis of how he makes movements between the lines and godforsaken things. But you just did that, and it starts from there. It always goes back to your education and stuff and what kind of human being you are. But I'll not drag this topic. But before I actually end this topic, I have a simple appeal to people who are watching this video, and the simple appeal is that respect the sport. You say you're a fan of the club, you say you're fan of the sport. I mean, we are all fan of the sport, that's why we support the club. The sport never created a bias between genders. Creating a bias is the job of politicians. Let me put it up front. They can create bias on whatever basis they want, but the sport never creates bias. Sport is always the greatest leveler known to mankind, irrespective of the gender, irrespective of the name. And if I have to quote examples, I can quote multiple examples. Johan Cruyff mocked AC Milan. He was the best coach at that point of time, and he mocked AC Milan. AC Milan gave Johan Cruyff what he deserved, which is a fitting reply. And the greatest manager of all time, was possibly the greatest player of all time, after the game said that, I think I got what I deserved, which shows the humility of the man and the humbleness, saying that I shouldn't have said that to a team. I can't call them a bunch of jokers just because they barely made it to the Champions League final. He obviously said much more things worse than what I just said, but the sport leveled it. That's why I'm trying to tell all people who are watching it that, you might be the greatest fan of your club, self-proclaimed greatest fan of your club. You might know more stats. You might know more from your internet research, or possibly you are the sport. But never ever say to a female that go to kitchen, do you know the offside rule? do you know anyone more than Ronaldo, Messi, and or David Beckham? I mean, if they know or don't know, it's none of your business. It's absolutely none of your business. They are fan of the sport. They are fan of the club, and as every fan, they have the right to support whatever is in the club, good, bad, ugly. It's their choice. And no, I'm not Neha Dhupia where I'm going to say it's your choice, but all I'm trying to tell you is the fact that you don't mock people basis gender. It's pretty low. It's just like hitting someone under the belt. You don't do that. And I sincerely hope that we all are matured people. We will not do that again. But moving on, talking about maturity and talking about not hitting under the belt, I'm going to
talking about maturity, can I add to one point over here?
Yeah. I hope you're not taking a ticket.
No, absolutely not. So talking about this gender biased, or I must say the gender discrimination one, one thing I remembered actually. So people used to ask me that, why do you love Barcelona? To be very honest, it wasn't Leo Messi for the very first time for who I actually loved Barcelona. It was Ronaldo, to be very honest, because at back Ronaldinho, right? So at that point of time, I actually didn't used to follow club football much because I was in my school at that point of time. It wasn't possible for me. But
and I think Laliga matches were late in the night also.
It was very late in the night. Yeah,
I
right.
used to watch this team called as Getafe, and I used to like
Getafe.
And they had a very good jersey. Okay, I used to really like them because they had a good jersey. Obviously, I never hopped on from City to Barcelona or from Arsenal to Barcelona or United to Madrid. But
yeah, so it happened, and then people used to ask me, Ronaldinho, usko dekha hai tune? Like, yeah, I know him, I know how he looks, I know
because he's got rabbit teeth, that's why.
I know how he smiles, I know how he looks, I know how he plays, I know his statistics, I know the goals he has scored, I know the assets. So why are you asking me? And then the same person, I was talking to the very same person some other day, a few days before, and talking about some good-looking footballs. Like, see, we human beings, we are not devoid of any kind of emotions, right? So when it comes to beauty, when it comes to the macho kind of thing, or to be honest, the hot kind of guys and all, we discuss obviously. So talking about that,
there are three guys, okay, who are feeling very offended because we don't fit the category anywhere close. But okay, we're listening.
Okay, so I was telling that honestly speaking, I've got a crush on Trinko because I feel he's very cute. Fine, I kind of like Trinko. He's very cute. He's having this kind of stubble and everything, so I find him cute. And then the person saying, "अरे यार, Trinko पसंद है, फिर भी तूने बोला था तेरे को Ronaldinho पसंद है, अभी तू मतलब तू गधा है क्या? Are you even?
Is he dating the same girl who he dated 10 years back?
I don't know. I asked him, are you even dumb, or you're just pretending to be dumb, or you're pretending to be so cool, just just in order to portray that I'm somebody who just goes for the look and everything? That's stupid. That's ultimately shit. So this kind of things I've also faced. Like, come on, man, grow up, get a life. What is this?
I think I'm prepared to give an opinion on this forum. Opinion which I think very close friends of mine know. I used to have this huge crush on David Beckham. Like I still do. I still follow him on Instagram. And my wife, and there are days where I am just looking at his picture, and my wife just looks at him. My wife just looks at me and she just asks me, "Tu theek hai na?" I'm like, yeah. Why are you looking at David Beckham? I was like, you know what? The first like in that photo is yours, which means you've already seen it. She's like, yeah, I can see, but you can't. You're not supposed to. I was like, okay, you know what? It's okay. But having said all of that, we'll move to the big game, right? The El Clasico. So let me ask Yudhajit first. He's been silently laughing for quite some time, and just like the elections, which was a joke for Barcelona, I'll straight away ask you, Yudhajit. Before the start of this podcast, right? You actually spoke of an issue off the record, and I want to start with that issue. Why do you think the defense of Barcelona is a problem? Is it because of the way you concede goals, or it's just that you just can't trust anyone who plays in that defense?
It's not because of we can't trust anyone. We actually have Araujo before getting injured was playing really well. He was, I think, the only defender to not get dribbled past at all the entire season till that point of time. It's not that we don't trust people, we don't have people. Araujo and Mingueza are really good. Araujo is very rock solid back, and Mingueza is very good at the ball, but he's not a good tackler like Araujo. Yeah. But the thing is, we have been trusting the pairing of Longley and Piqué for a very long time. And the thing is, both of them are pretty slow. Very slow. Let's not talk about him. He doesn't. I mean, okay, let's not talk about him.
Okay, fine.
The thing is, they're very slow, and since we play with a very high line, even Barcelona, they cannot sit back and defend the entire game. We play with very high line. And the thing is, any ball over the top can catch us out because PK can't run. He had always been very slow and he can't run at all. He's 34 now. And so he get caught out. Like any kind of counter, he get caught up in the counter because Busquets is very slow. Yeah, always been slow.
Correct.
Running has never been in something he's very good at.
Yeah.
He's very good in positioning, tackling, passing and all. So and the thing is, defense has worsened over the year. We never tried to fix it at all. Never did. We never cared. We only went for ball playing defenders. We only went for defenders who were good at the ball. We never cared about pace. We never cared about positioning. Nothing. Only the ball playing individual.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
that's why we suffered. That's why we suffered a lot. So it's not about people who don't trust. It's like the people you have trusted for so long are not at par anymore.
Yeah. You're like the CSK fan, you know. Dad's army ho gaya, time ho gaya. But talking about Dad's army and the whole old age and not able to do a job, Rajdeep, I'm going to straight away ask you this question. That you said a very popular opinion that you can take Kita, Alcantara, and who not over the midfield trio of Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz, right? That was an opinion which you shared on social media the other day. Someone shared that someone would take Thiago, Naby Keita, and them over that midfield trio. Arguably one of the best midfield trio in club football right now. Yes, they are old. They are not what they used to be. Let's put it that way. But they can still do the job. I don't think there's any midfielder in that trio who can be just replaced one fine day and said, "Ha, bhai, tera time khatam ho gaya." No, you can't do that. What Yudhajit said, you are having the bang opposite problem. You had a slow start to the season. That midfield did not click immediately in spite of playing for so long. Suddenly that midfield looks revived because I remember the game against Liverpool and I just saw that midfield. And for a minute, I just closed my eyes and I thought, are these guys really over 30, 33? You can't do that. A team who presses like Liverpool, who press so much, they don't give you any breather, right? You lose the ball, they're at you all the time. These people did not only lose the ball, when they lost the ball, they just recovered it. And miraculously, you can call it Liverpool playing bad or whatever, but you face the opposite problem of that, right? What Yudhajit just said, that you want a replacement in the team, not because they're bad. It's just because you want to build for the future.
Yeah, see, we have Odegaard, we have Fede Valverde.
Sorry, you have who?
I mean, we have Fede Valverde. And Odegaard is on loan, but he's coming back in a year or two. Okay. So we can build for the future. But Cruz is right now 31 and he's supposedly retiring after the Euros. He has a lot of time on his hand to prepare for the club game.
So he will retire from German national team, but play for Real Madrid.
And only, yes. So we can give Modric an extension for a year and then let him ease Odegaard into the team. It won't be a problem for us to replace this trio.
But Odegaard, isn't he more of a number 10 role rather than a box-to-box midfielder?
But he can play on the right side. He played on the right side for Real Sociedad. Yeah. He's more of a number 10, but he can shift a bit for the team because Real Madrid doesn't believe in the number 10 role.
Yeah, I remember Angel Di Maria who moved from number 10 to
James Rodriguez.
Or Mesut Ozil. I remember Mesut Ozil also, who moved from a number 10 to more of a center midfielder, a gap between center and number 10. That kind of a role. Yeah. Exactly. Under Ancelotti, I think even Angel Di Maria moved from left wing to number 10 to the center midfield, right?
Yes.
That time.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Without much ado, Simran, what is your predicted 11 for the game against Barcelona?
If Zidane doesn't want to, do any changes, it will be a 4. No. Yeah, if he doesn't want to play with the 11, it will be a 4-3-3 as we expected. It will be a 4 of Nacho, Mondi, Vasquez, and Militao.
Okay.
And it will be Cruz, Modric, Casemiro. And it will be Benzema, Vinicius, and Asensio at the start because we can exploit the Barcelona's defense with Vinicius' speed. And
no Eden Hazard?
I don't think
we might see Hazard.
Yeah,
we might see
started
Hazard.
Training. I read the
yeah, but I don't know if they'll use him or not. But let's see.
Okay.
And if he wants to,
After Rajdeep
If you-
says his predicted 11, no, I'll tell you a small
No, my
story about
predicted
Eden Hazard.
11 is pretty much the same as hers. I'm
Okay.
not changing anything.
Because you can't, right? Rafael Varane is out. He's not going to come back. So you obviously don't have any other option.
we have very
don't have
limited
any.
options.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't think Dani Carval will also be fit. He's got his injury on thigh or something.
No,
Like
he's
right now,
back in
he
training.
is fit. He is back in training, but I don't think Zidane will risk it, like making a player come from the injury after such a long time. I think he'll go with Vasquez only.
Just to add on to the point, where I said about Eden Hazard, right? Let me tell you something as a United fan. Like I've been supporting United for the last 19 years now. So I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and I've seen the best United days. And I've actually seen a young 18-year-old kid from Sporting Lisbon who came on his debut against Fulham till he became what he is and what he is today. And there are very few players who have made me look at the Premier League and I just said, wow, you don't do that in Premier League. What was Cristiano Ronaldo? I mean, he was magic. He was absolute magic as long as he was with United, and then he left for his boyhood dream club or whatnot and whatever it is. Then I saw Eden Hazard. Okay. You ask any sensible United fan, Upasana, please make sure of the word sensible. You ask any sensible United fan, they will say that after Ronaldo, there was one guy who made us really excited and made us sit on the edge of the chair when he had the ball at his feet was Eden Hazard. And that's because what Eden Hazard did with the ball was magic. I've seen Lionel Messi and I don't think it's magical. It's gifted. What Lionel Messi does is gifted. But what Eden Hazard does with the ball is pure magic. And trust me when I say this, when Eden Hazard gets on form and if he really gets back to his Chelsea form, right, there are a lot of defenses who can't handle him. And we've seen that in Premier League. Of course, we don't know what happened to him at Real Madrid with the consistent injuries. You can blame the squad, you can blame the medical staff for what, or just sheer bad luck to that gentleman. But I really, really hope as a fan of football, I really hope Eden Hazard comes back firing all cylinders, because you will actually understand that the hype around Antoine Griezmann, the hype around Ousmane Dembele, so-called players who can dribble the ball and get inside the box and score. Then you will see a guy who just glides on the ball. In my life, I've seen Ryan Giggs do that. I've seen Pavel Nedved do that. I've seen Cristiano Ronaldo do that, and I'm putting Eden Hazard in that category because it's a joy. It's a joy to see players like him just run with the ball, and it's pure magic. But I'll not rant on Eden Hazard because he dumped United to join Chelsea. But having said all of that, Yudhajit, what is your predicted 11 for the game?
So my predicted 11 is we're going to play with the back three, like we have been doing that magical form with the back. But we have been playing Frankie de Jong like a libero or sweeper for last few matches because we had no other defender.
You said sweeper. Right? You said sweeper. De Jong as a sweeper.
Yes, we had been playing him.
The classic three-man formation. Okay.
Yeah. The similar role Koeman used to play in Barcelona. Similar role. But since we have Araujo completely fit now, I think we might go to 3-5-2. We might go the back three of Araujo, Mingueza, and Longley, with Busquets as the defensive midfielder up front, and then Pedri and De Jong with Alvarez as the wing backs, and then Messi and Dembele up front. I don't think Griezmann might start because he had been very disappointing last match. So yeah, I think we might go with that because playing De Jong in the midfield gives a lot of opportunities for him to go up with the ball to box. Like he's a very attacking minded player as well. He can pop up in the box out of nowhere, and I've seen him scoring crucial goals in that way. So I think one might want to use that. So I think we are going to play with that.
I agree with you. He's a player with very special pedigree, Frankie de Jong, and after all the hate he received in the first season not hate, the dislike, the trolls what he received in the first season, he stepped up and he's actually showing what Barcelona paid that 75 million. It's like what Barcelona did is ghar pe paisa nahi hai, udhar leke bhai kharid lo. So it's something similar of that sort, and he's repaying every penny of what they paid, and I hope he has a good game and he's got a fantastic career ahead of him for Netherlands. Upasana, do you have any change in the predicted 11 of Yudhajit?
No, I actually don't have any change because I totally agree with him. Because what I feel that this should be the formation because three men back is something what Koeman is doing good at it.
I read Sergio Roberto is back in training, right? So do you think he's got a chance to start?
I don't think so. I don't think so. He's getting a chance because what actually, to be honest, I used to feel at the very beginning that Koeman is a bit moody kind of a guy, but now
ask me about it from his Netherlands days. I'll tell you his mood swings.
Yeah, so I used to feel that he's kind of a moody, but day by day after watching the game and the tactics and everything, what I feel is, he's not doing that bad job. He's doing pretty good job because the way we were lagging behind so many other teams in the La Liga, and now we're on the second position. So I feel kuch to hai bande mein. So yeah, I kind of trust him now, and his.
You should ask Everton fans kya hai us bande mein. They'll tell you in detail.
I will if I come across any one of them. So yeah.
I like the dig. I actually like the dig. But having said all of that, right, Upasana, the predicted 11 from both teams. I don't want to end this podcast with a prediction. What do you think who is going to win? And that's because Clasico, I believe, is a game that anybody can win depending on their mood, depending on who steps up. If you take the head-to-head record, there will be statistics which will tell you this should win, that should win, or whatnot. But I'll not end the podcast with who's going to win. But I'm going to ask you a very simple question to all of you individually. So Rajdeep and Simran, okay, this is the first question to you both. You can choose. Apart from he who must not be named, who's currently at Juventus, he should not be named. Okay. Apart from him, right? If there was one player who always stepped up in Clasico, who was that? Not for the wrong reasons, please.
Sergio Ramos.
That's why I said not for the wrong reasons.
No, he also scored goals as well.
Yeah,
but I would name Benzema. He has been missing for the past few Clásicos, but when there was Ronaldo, we had his name as well.
Yeah, true. There are very few strikers who don't need to score week in, week out. No, I'm not talking about Roberto Firmino. I'm talking of Karim Benzema, because who can still cause trouble with his movements. I'm actually loving this. I actually don't get a lot of chance to take digs at so many people, but yeah, fair enough. But Yudhajit and Upasana, the same question to you, right? If I don't want you to take Lionel Messi's name because I don't want to particularly categorize these two gentlemen, because when the going gets tough, these people stand up. Not Messi internationally, but usually most of the time he does. Rajdeep, you're not supposed to laugh, okay? I genuinely meant it, that when the going gets tough, Messi and Ronaldo usually step up. Not against Bayern, not against international teams, but usually they do. But in that sense, right, who do you think always steps up during the Clasico in this current squad? I know there was Carles Puyol who did it for years.
Current squad,
go on.
I really don't know, because it's a bunch of young players. We haven't seen them properly in Clasico yet. But
Suarez did to a certain extent.
If you
Suarez
ask
had
me
more goals than
certain
Messi since he came. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you ask me, I would say it's Ter Stegen.
Yeah,
Because
same.
to some extent, it's obviously a goalie's contribution and effort and his, like a kind of mental calmness at that point of time, which actually affects a lot in this kind of, heated up match. So apart from, because talking about goalkeeper, I really don't understand. I'm just deviating a bit. I really don't understand why Keylor Navas was being released from Real Madrid, because he's one of the best.
Real Madrid still don't understand why did they let go of
He's one of the best I have seen. And the last match, the Bayern versus the PSG one, I was watching it last night, and I was like, man, this guy is spectacular. I mean, why the hell did Real Madrid release him? I mean, he was a terror to me, actually. I have no shame in admitting that. Keylor Navas was kind of a terror to me. So you're talking about goalkeeping. It's one of the most fundamental position, fundamental job role, duty, whatever you may call it. So apart from Leo or apart from any other person, I would like to name Ter Stegen. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'd also like to add another person to this.
Yeah.
Sergio Busquets. Joke with no, not Sergio Busquets. I mean, it's Sergio Roberto, and there's a joke that he turns into prime Cafu during El Clasico. I mean, that
there are some players like him. There are some players like him and Scott McTominay, okay, who step up in these kind of passion games. They're called as passion merchants, and then suddenly fans believe that ये हमारा midfield संभालेगा. Scott McTominay scored 2 goals against Leeds United, and you should have seen whole United fan base. We've got our Roy Keane.
I saw.
And I was like,
Roy Keane.
Yeah, Roy Keane. I was like, okay, because Upasana, you don't know the analogy. Okay, let me tell you this. Okay.
Yeah, please.
So we signed Roy Keane from Nottingham Forest when they were relegated. He was a British transfer million record player, and of course, he was a great servant for the club. Left in 2005. So Roy Keane could not defend well, nor could he attack well. He was a proper box-to-box midfielder who has all-round capabilities. If you ask him what is his strongest suit, you would be very difficult. It would be very difficult to pick out his strongest suit. Okay. Same thing is with Scott McTominay. He can neither defend, he can neither attack. But the difference is, Roy Keane could score and stand up in decisive moments. So does Scott McTominay. He does stand up in decisive moments, which is why the comparison. Now, what fans don't realize is that Roy Keane every game would give me a 7 on 10. His worst is 7 on 10. There's hardly a game where I remember Roy Keane was bad. McTominay's average is 6. That's because he's got 10 on 10 against teams. So he scored 2 goals against Leeds United in 5 minutes, and the logic was, oh my God, did you see that goal? And I was like, and then someone put a photo of Roy Keane and McTominay. And for a person like me, right, I grew up watching United all my life not because I loved Sir Alex Ferguson. I always loved Roy Keane. During my current work, where I give presentations, I always say that for me, leader is Roy Keane, and will always be Roy Keane, because if I want to be a leader, I want to be as honest, as blunt, and above all, I want to be a winner. And that's what Roy Keane defined me in my life. He was a winner. But then, Scott McTominay is Roy Keane. But whatever. Jokes apart, guys, I think we've covered a lot of things today. We've spoken about the women issue. We've spoken about, when I say women issue, please don't mistake me saying that I'm not saying women is an issue. I'm saying the trolls against women is a problem. And I really hope that you guys understand this, that this is an issue which should not happen to anyone, let alone be any gender. We've spoken about the biggest game on planet Earth, apart from FIFA, which is El Clasico. Barcelona will face Real Madrid on Saturday, and it is going to be a very cagey game, in my opinion. I really hope may the best team win. For anyone who's watching this video, please subscribe to our channel, and also subscribe to FIIOB. We'll come back with more and more podcasts. I really hope the next time when I meet you guys, you are not this cordial. You can fight more. And I learned something new today. Something new which I learned is E-Lapada. I'll remember this. I'll use it in next post or whatever.